So here in the UK, we get a little bit shafted when it comes to certain movies. I'm sure other countries do as well, but there's a lot of films that we don't get for quite some time after they come out. I mean, this year there was movies like Upgrade, for example, that was an amazing film that we didn't get here for months after it came out. Another one is Green Book, not due out in the UK until February of next year, but there was a secret screening last night. The movie turned out to be Green Book. It was the one I wanted it to be above all of the others, and there were only a handful of people that walked out of this one, which, to be honest, is quite a record, because normally there's a drove of people that leave as soon as they see it's not the next big blockbuster that they thought it was going to be. But for those who stuck around, they were treated to a very good film.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Starring amongst others Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali and Linda Cardellini, directed by Peter Farrelly, of all people, off of a screenplay that he wrote alongside Nick Vallelonga and Brian Hayes Curry. This is my review for Green Book. So Green Book is the story of Frank, who also goes by the name of Tony Lip. He's an American of Italian descent, and he's not the most receptive to other cultures in the world. Like, he's got a few issues, he's got a few thoughts on them, and it's something that his wife doesn't look too fondly upon. But he is in dire need of some money, and he gets a job as a driver for a man named Doc, a musician, a very, very, very talented pianist, who is a black man. And the tour is going to be going through the southern states of the United States, which, during this time period that it's set, which is, I believe, the 60s, not the best time for a black man to be exploring those states. And what we have essentially here is almost a buddy movie. A buddy movie between these two characters. And one thing that I want to get off the bat from the start is how amazing the two leads in this movie are. Ali and Mortensen, both of them, incredible. This has to be Oscar contenders for the pair of them, and between this and Star is Born, I genuinely don't know who I want to win. It'll probably be somebody I've never heard of. It's the Oscars. But they are literally stunning. The performances from the pair of them, I kept flitting between them throughout the movie. I was like, this is Viggo Mortensen's movie, he's so good. And then Ali, because I keep mispronouncing his first name, so I'm just going to say Ali, he'll give a speech or deliver a moment that's equally as stunning, if not more so. So the whole runtime, I was just spent flicking between these two people to try and work out who was the best, and there's nothing in it. They are both perfectly cast in this film, absolutely perfectly. And I think if there was somebody else in these roles, this movie would have been nowhere near as good, I don't think, because it just seems like this is the perfect two people to have playing these parts. Viggo Mortensen is unrecognisable from his days as Aragorn. I haven't seen a huge amount of the movies that he's done since the Lord of the Rings days. I saw History of Violence many, many years ago, but he's an actor that I haven't seen a great deal of since. I want to see a lot more of him now. He could not be more different from Aragorn, but he just plays this character who, I don't want to say he's simple, but he is. He's a little bit simple. He says what he thinks. He's very, very content with his life. He's just going about from A to B and just trying to get the job done. That's all he is. There's not a lot more to him than that, but that works in the movie's benefit because he's such a relatable character, even though at the start of the movie he's a bit of a questionable when it comes to his morals, but he'll be fine with violence. If he needs to be violent, he'll be violent. His job before he's driving this man around is working in a bar as security. So yeah, if there's going to be a fight, he's more than capable of holding his own, but overall you do get the impression, and more as the film goes on, that he's a very, very nice guy, despite the flaws that we know he have. And then to counter that is Doc Shirley. Mahershala Ali, really sorry if I keep messing up his name, really delivers just a unique performance for this character of Doc, because he's not a straightforward character at all. He's a black man, but he doesn't feel as though he is black. He certainly doesn't act like a white man. He doesn't really know his place in the world. There's a running joke that he's never tried fried chicken, for example, but he's somebody who is wealthy. He's got a lot of money behind him, and he's got a lot of talent behind him as well. I don't know if that was actually him playing the piano, but if it was, wow. The fascinating thing about this film is unpeeling the layers of the character of Doc, and to a degree Frank as well. The two of them start in one place, and they're at a very different place by the end of the movie. We get to watch them evolve and grow with each other, and I'm so glad that we got the little bit at the end, which, and I'm not going to say spoilers-wise, but it kind of tells you what happened to them in later life, because this is based on a true story. But honestly, I could have spent so much more time with these two. The movie's about over 2 hours long, and this is the sort of movie that I love, by the way. It's one where not a huge amount actually happens in the film itself, but the writing, the directing, and again, Peter Farrelly, well played to him. I certainly would have written this off instantly after seeing his name on there, after some things he's done recently. But yeah, the writing, the directing, the performances, they are all so good that even though it is a slow-paced film, it's not ever boring. Because I'm just enjoying spending time in this world. I'm just enjoying spending time with these two people. There are so many scenes where it's just the two of them. Just the two of them interacting and talking, and there are a few other characters that flit in and out in between the movie, but mainly it's just them. And they hold the screen perfectly. As I say, the script is written to the point where I could literally have just watched them for 2 hours just sitting in the car talking, just riffing off each other, just sparring as they do. And the characters, as they become a lot more warm to each other, both of those characters become more likeable in the process as well. And it's just an incredibly heartwarming story. And the other thing I'd like to mention as well is that obviously this is a movie that deals a lot with race. And incidentally, the last secret screening was I Hate You Give, so there's a bit of a theme there. But what I really, really liked about how they did this is the topic of racism in this film. And there are a lot of times that it does get mentioned, and you see how horrible it must be to be on the receiving end of it, but it never feels preachy. Not even in the slightest. It feels natural to the story. It doesn't feel like a message is trying to be sort of rammed down our throats, as it were. It just feels like we're watching this story play out. And personally, I think that's a lot more effective. Like, I took a much more of a step back and thought about things after watching this film because of the way that Doc was treated than, say, I did with something like the Doctor Who episode Rosa. That was one example, I think, of something where it was too preachy, and I think a lot of Doctor Who's been like that lately, and I'm going to do a separate video on that at some point, so if you're a Doctor Who fan, please don't send abuse, save it. I'll do another video where you can abuse me for that. But that episode of Rosa was very, very interesting, I think. I mean, the performances were great. You can't fault the performances at all, and I really like that they tried to tell that story, but it felt very, very preachy. I mean, the song Rise Up playing at the end was so on the nose that I just found it distracting. It took away from the actual story itself. But Green Book doesn't do that. It knows exactly how to tell the story and how to get its message across without it even really feeling like you're being given a message. And that's one of the biggest takeaways I can take from this, is just how well that was done. But overall, this is just a movie that I loved. I mean, occasionally there are moments where the pacing does become an issue. Only very, very occasionally. It doesn't happen often. But for the most part, I adored this film. I adored the performances. I really want to see it again. If it's out where you are now, please go watch and support this film, because I think you're going to be hearing a lot about it. And if you're here in the UK, try and remember this video when it comes February, and then go watch it then, because, yeah, definitely worth seeing. Absolutely loved it. I'm going to give Green Book a 9 out of 10. Have you seen Green Book? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And what other Viggo Mortensen movies should I watch that I haven't seen? Say I've seen The Lord of the Rings, obviously, and I've seen History of Violence. But what other ones should I watch that he's done? Because I'm really interested in him as an actor again now. He was so good in this film. Both of them were. Great film. But yeah, do let me know that in the comments as well. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more. Look out for more reviews coming soon, including the new Spider-Man movie, an animated film that I'm really, really excited to see at the end of this week. Can't wait for that one. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Julians if you want to talk to me on there. I'm also on the name Joe Julians on Stardust as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.